Welcome to the April 15th Planning Board Workshop. For anybody in the audience tonight, I would assume most of you are here because you have an application in front of us. This meeting is not open for public comment. It's open for application, comment, and explanation for us. Additionally, if case of any emergency, the exit is right over there. Do not take the elevator, take the stairs. And I think we're all set to go ahead and call the first case.
Great, thank you. First item is a sketch plan 2024-04-01, request by Greenman Peterson, Inc., acting as agent for Carroll's LLC, Burger King, for sketch plan conference for proposed site.
Is that okay?
Site alterations, renovations, and improvements on premises 625 Eastridge Road in a C Business District. I believe this is Mr. Bob Blood.
Yes, good evening. Bob Blood, Project Manager, GPI, representing Carroll's, as you mentioned. And their project for the remodel of the Burger King on Eastridge Road. There's essentially three components to their construction plan for this property. One involves a remodel of the building, interior and exterior, full exterior elevation renovation. That would include a small addition on the side of the building for storage, a canopy off the drive-through end that would cover the pickup windows. Secondly, trying to improve the efficiency of the drive-through lane. We are looking at the addition of a second lane where I believe one has existed previously, very similar in alignment.
Here, we know this one's good.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to hear me anyway.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you need me to start over?
The only thing that would be good for is folks that will be viewing this either now or...
Okay. So, the proposed project is the remodel of the Burger King on East Ridge Road. Central to that would be the building itself, complete interior remodel and exterior facades. Second component would be the addition of a second drive-through lane to improve the efficiency of that operation. That would cut through the current green space located on the north side of the building in an approximate alignment with a second lane that had existed there previously, to the best of my knowledge. We would also try and widen the drive-through lanes so that there's a distinct ordering lane and an accessible bypass lane. Third final item is the accessible parking area is really a mess. It's grade-wise, it's not compliant. Layout-wise, it's not compliant. And that might be an area where we're going to look at a reconfiguration to try and bring some green space back onto the site where we're removing it for the drive-through lane. So other than that, we're looking for your initial comments and feedback and hopefully some indication of the roadmap through the site process with the town.
I see you have the dumpster enclosure bolded. I assume that's going to become CMU enclosure now.
No, that's just a carryover from the surveyor's line weight, to be perfectly
That's
honest
all.
with you. There's no renovations. It's a masonry enclosure now, I believe.
I just looked at the Google. It didn't look like it was. It looked, but if
We're
it
going to
is,
request, yeah, right?
that's one thing, yeah. If it's not, we would want to look at that for sure.
Yeah, I was just visiting the site before I came here. There's a brick facade,
Yeah.
probably a CMU court.
And then your two queuing lanes. To the west of that, the bolded island, I want to call it.
here?
Yep.
That would just be striped, painted on
Nothing
the
else.
pavement.
It'll be
No.
flat.
No.
There's an option to get out of the queuing lane.
That's right. You can exit out of that lane whenever you want. The only barrier would be right at the canopy where we've got a raised island and some bollard protection.
Just striping.
Yeah,
Perfect.
just striping. There would also be converted to concrete. I'm not sure if that's all concrete now. I think it's all asphalt, but
Pedestrian access off of Eastridge.
well, a good reason for tonight's meeting because we haven't accounted for it. Want to know if that's something that,
We would want to see, hopefully,
yeah.
some sort of access and different type of potentially a concrete or striping area.
And you may want to think about the access from Hudson Avenue
Yeah, Hudson
also.
as well.
Because I would imagine, my guess is people go through the back of that property.
The
Just be
short
my
time
guess.
I was there, I saw a lot of crossover through the back.
Yeah, that would be
Car
my
wash
guess.
activity,
Don't
people
design
just
it.
hanging out.
Yeah.
One of the ideas I've thought about, it hasn't really been discussed with my client, but I'll throw it out there as a way to bring more green space back into the site with the installation of this lane, was to maybe remove these parking spaces out on the front facing. And then that would lend itself to a nice pedestrian connection from both roads, as you mentioned.
Is there going to be any seating? It
There
seems-
is going to be seating.
Outside, I mean,
Oh,
sorry.
No, not to my knowledge. This main corner of the building, part of the building renovation would be a trellis along this side and then sort of an open canopy across that entrance with cleaning up the green space here and then bringing that additional storage room in.
So what
We
goes
could probably
on?
incorporate seating here where the
Yeah,
bike
what
rack
goes
is.
on here? Yeah,
Well, nothing right now.
it might be an option. I mean, it's not unheard of, especially some of the other spots that are up and down the ridge.
Ellen,
The-
may I interrupt quick?
Yeah.
Before you contemplate the outdoor seating, just an FYI, consent of the zoning board is needed for any seating 20 and over. Just an
Okay.
FYI.
So 19 seats, and it's a good idea.
20 sounds aggressive anyway.
The queuing seems short to me. I mean, just unless it's a very unpopular restaurant. I mean, there's only 7 cars here. And then what are we going to do? Start backing up where?
7 cars behind the ordering station.
Yeah.
Well, that's at least 5 more than we have now, I guess.
Yeah, it does back up. So I think maybe if we're redoing the building, let's think of a solution to get those cars off of the road, because I don't think the county's going to let us approve a plan that doesn't do that.
Well, that's really the reason for the second lane to begin with. You know,
And there's no division between the bail lane and the drive-through lane, right?
just the striped pavement that,
So that actually
Reference
could be another lane for you guys?
it's only about 2 feet wide.
Okay. It's only 2 feet wide. How are you going to have it as
Talking
a
about
bail line? A bail aisle?
Well, that's 10 feet wide. I thought you were talking
Okay.
about the
No, that's what
separation
I'm-
between them.
No. Shifting it so you're putting another menu over there, so then you could actually get 14 cars in. And then you would just merge them down to do a pickup window.
Well, you could queue as many cars as you want, but if you don't have the staffing to be able to handle the cars,
Yeah, but that's what he's doing now. He's got an order board on that second lane.
Right.
right? But that's
So
pretty
I'm just
common.
saying shift it to the east or to the west of the property.
And then how many queuing lanes would you have?
Then you'd have still 2 queuing lanes as he's got now.
Oh, but you're saying
They
there
would just
be
run,
longer amount, more
right,
cars.
it
be
would
able to
allow
queue.
you to have more space in there. I'm not an
And then
architect
make
and
a
I'm
quick,
not.
I mean, you're talking about something that would run parallel in this direction here?
See where the bail lane is?
The bail lane
Using
is
the
here.
bail lane as your,
So another ordering station in that, I
yeah,
don't think physically that would work with, they need at least 8 feet wide to put their ordering units and menus in.
and you told me it was 10 feet, right?
Well, the 10 feet is just the bypass. If you
And then
can't
2 feet
complete
for
your
the-
order, you don't have to wait in line to leave the property, is what that bypass lane is.
I'm having a problem with the queue. I don't know if anybody else is or not. Traffic needs to get off Ridge, right?
That's, I mean,
Right now it's back. Microphone, please.
I think it's an improvement of what's there now.
I get an improvement on what's there now, but it's not, we're still gonna run into a problem.
Is there a required number of spaces behind the ordering board?
I can tell you there's a requirement, you can't have cars queuing on the thoroughfare. That's not my requirement.
I understand that, but I think we've done as best as we can with increasing the amount of stacking overall. You know, other than a complete redevelopment of the site, I'm not sure
How
how much
many,
more we can get there with the entrance right at the entrance to the site, right at the entrance to the drive-through.
how many additional cars do you think you can queue now compared to what you're able to queue? That you will be able to queue compared to what you're able to queue now?
Well, there, by my calculations, 8 now, we're going to 11. Part of the difference, though, is the current pickup window is more towards this end of the building, and it's being shifted more towards the front of the building, so we lose a couple of spaces there. So apples to apples, I think we're probably 5 more spaces than exists.
It is better. I mean, the alternative is what not to do.
Well, it's
anything.
better, but it's not solving the problem, Brad. I get better all the time, and I don't think that we can kill a project but I can tell you if the traffic doesn't get off the thoroughfare, then it is a problem.
Well,
Then
this is a response to try and solve that, so, you know, perhaps we can work together.
Yeah, no, I
wanted
agree.
the sketch conference before we get into any of the engineering to
Well,
get
that's why I would
comments like
say
yours.
move your pickup lane back a little bit further or do it in the back of the building. One thing I do want to ask when you come back to us, can those elevations actually say east, west, north, and south on them instead of front, back? Sorry, totally off the subject, but I was looking
Well, I
at
think
the-
their main drive-through front and rear. It's
For
the
me,
way
I
they're-
work east, west, north, and south.
Understood. I will relay that to the architect.
Okay, right, this says front elevation, to me, that means nothing. It means something to you guys, but I don't know what the front is. Does the front face Hudson Avenue, or does it face Ridge Avenue, Ridge Road?
Understood.
Okay, John?
Personally, I don't see an issue with the amount of queuing just because, you know, it's an improvement to the site. And it's, you know, it's an existing site. If this was, you know, vacant property, you know, we'd probably say push the building further
Right.
to the south and then wrap the drive-through along the south just to help with queuing. I guess the one comment issue that I have is that new eastern driveway, and if it is backed up, like Mr. Richards, you know, has a concern is, you know, how functional will that entrance and exit be if you have cars there? And for the bypass lane, is that being required by like the fire marshal, or is that more like a Burger King
That's a
preference?
Burger King thing.
'Cause I'm wondering, can you pull the pavement a little closer to East Ridge, you know, extend the radius up there, and then, you know, if you're turning in off East Ridge, you could make a right to a double drive-through lane, and then have it go from 2 lanes down to 1, you know, as you're getting closer to the building. So kind of where you have that curbed island, you kind of pick up your radius there for the entrance, and then kind of split the difference down the middle, and then have it go from 2 lanes down to 1, almost like a Y-shaped.
Yeah, we can look at all these recommendations.
On one of the drawings, I swear I saw 2 outbuildings on the south part of the building.
Yeah, looks like there's storage sheds in the back of the restaurant.
Are they going to continue to be there, and were they permitted to begin with? I know you
They're
don't know.
planned to be there. I can't answer the permit question. I thought they would be removed when we got into this, but I was told not to.
Okay, but they're not being shown on this stuff then, at the moment.
No, but they would be on the,
They're on one of them. I know
Survey.
there are, yeah.
talking about these right here.
And what are those buildings used for currently?
I believe they're just cold, dry storage.
Okay,
There may be some maintenance equipment. I don't know what their
okay,
use is.
yeah. Yeah, I'm handing you your meeting back, by the way. The other thing that's missing off of this is a bike rack.
Okay, well, there is an existing one that sits right here that would remain.
Okay, just show it.
Yep.
So I didn't understand the comments about the buildings. I didn't see that.
The what?
You said there's outbuildings?
There's outbuildings on one of his maps.
It's these two buildings back here, and they're just,
And it could be that it's not right with this packet, but it was on the
and I don't think
electronic.
they're on a foundation, they just sit on the pavement.
Can we see if those were ever permitted?
Do you need them if they're temporary?
I'd have to look it up.
Okay. Yeah, that, I saw it on one of the electronic maps. I don't see it. Okay, there you go. And how much green space are you losing? Do you know?
It's going from basically .8 acres currently to .82 impervious, so we're losing about 0.2 of an acre.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if you can figure out how to, is the signage gonna stay the same on the street?
They will probably keep the sign in the same location and replace the panel with the new, this is all geared towards the new BK imaging, keeping up with the neighbor.
So it'll probably look similar to the University Avenue.
I think the current logo is the bun logo instead of the button. So
Yeah.
it's Burger King with a bun on top and bottom.
So the two outbuildings aren't on the current concept plan.
He's got them
No,
on one of the maps, so.
No, I think that's just a layer issue with our CAD draftsman that probably got placed on a layer that was frozen for the print. It's on the, it's shown on the survey.
Right. Well, that's gonna have to be shown on the survey, because the survey's as is.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's our mistake for not having it shown. They sit right here.
Oh, so they're
They're
gonna
just-
remain.
They were just frozen inadvertently.
Gotcha.
Is your existing signage pole mounted?
Yes.
Is there any
Okay, I found this on the web for.
is there any opportunity to do a monument style sign?
I think they would be receptive to that.
And then I just want to underscore the other comments that were made about pedestrian access. Doing it with some type of contrasting material like concrete or stamped and dyed asphalt would be a nice addition.
I think so.
Just real quick, Wes Petty from Labella Associates, town engineer consultant here. So I just wanted to go back to the concept. I'm not to beat a dead horse, right? The concept that a couple board members brought up about using this bypass lane, somehow either reconfiguring that a little bit for the second drive-through lane. Just a casual observation here based on what I'm seeing. I don't know if that's going to gain you any additional stacking space, any more stacking space than what is currently proposed on this sketch plan. But given that, if you're able to, kind of look at the design and quantify for the planning board, if that alternative show that alternative arrangement either is or is not going to give you any more stacking space, I think that would really help the planning board in identifying whether or not to move forward with the configuration as you've proposed on this sketch or otherwise.
Yep. We'll present some different alternatives and
Okay.
elicit comment.
If there's any possibility to keep that window to the south where it is currently, because I think that's going to pick up 2 queuing spots as well. I know it's hard when we're internally redesigning.
Yeah, I argued against it myself.
Pretty
but
boilerplate, but it's just another argument from us.
One of the things Burger King's trying to do also is implement a mobile ordering pickup, which is really the genesis behind the canopy. Then in a place where there was more room, you would have this bypass lane serving as the mobile order lane. There's just no way to get, unless they're gonna walk all the way out from behind the building to serve mobile orders, so I thought that former window location would be a great place to put a door so you could do that, but I'm not the architect, and this is where we're at.
I know that you will show us all the lighting that's going to be changed on the outside of the building.
Wall mounted and
Yeah.
and standard pole. Yeah, there's a light here that would have to be relocated, but essentially it's going to stay pretty much the same. They've all been updated with LEDs, so
Yep.
it's,
And the signage is what we see on the plan, obviously.
yes.
Okay, cool. I'm all set, Bernie.
Yes, you did, and so would another sketch plan conference probably be the way to discuss the various options we've talked about, or?
Part of our process is,
Bernie, can you use the mic, please? I'm sorry.
part of our process is we normally do a workshop before the public meeting. So if you think that'll meet your needs and you can take all this input into
That
account,
would be perfect if they'd be willing to do that.
does that work?
Have him come back in
For
2
a work,
weeks?
no, for a workshop, for, before he comes before,
Like in June
or June or July, whenever
For
he's
another
coming.
sketch plan?
No, site plan. Go, he's ready to go forward.
Oh, okay, yeah. you
Well,
would have to-
we're not going forward till we have a layout that everybody's mostly comfortable with, you know, and
I guess what Bernie's offering you is if you want to come back for a sketch plan, feel free to do that. We're always happy to do that. But what that's going to do is say you come back in June, you're now not going to go before us for any decisions,
Right.
legal decisions until July or August.
so how's the best way to convey different alternatives for your analysis on what's an improvement
You
or
could
not?
just do them and send them via email and then we
It
would,
could be done without.
Yeah.
Okay,
But then there's a workshop where, like, if you're presenting options, you can get opinion on which option looks better to the board. So, just trying to make it easier if you want to get this moving quicker.
yes, that's,
yeah, tonight's a workshop and we're going to be looking at other cases that
Right.
will come back to us in 2 weeks for either approval or
Okay.
additional work.
do you need full site engineering to make your approval, or that comes after the board makes its
We need your full site plan, so.
Yeah,
full site plan set?
yeah.
And did you capture all the requests that were made? So
I
she'll
believe
send
so.
you a memo too.
Okay, that'd be great.
Any other comments? I mean, you're welcome, like he said, to do another sketch plan, but if you,
No, I don't want to drag it out. Believe me, my client doesn't want me to drag it out anymore either. I just, not being familiar with this board, how the best way to convey alternatives back and forth
well,
without,
we do offer the workshop
this setting.
before the actual next meeting. So if you think you're ready, and you've addressed all the concerns.
Yep.
Bring it
we
forward.
won't have site engineering done in 2 weeks, so.
No,
It's up to you.
be on the agenda for 2 weeks
Anyways,
Right, well,
because it has to be publicized as a public hearing.
in response to comments and all that, I would assume would have to happen before that too.
But staff can guide you better through that than I ever could.
Request County.
Correct. Yep. So it would be, I believe the submission date, I can look it up if you want it right now, because May's already set. Schedules. I apologize. Let me pull it up here.
If it's the one on your website, I'm familiar with it.
Yes. So May 14th is the submission date for the June 10th workshop and June 24th meeting.
Okay. That will be our goal, if that works for you.
Okay,
Thanks.
sounds good.
Thank
Keep me posted.
Will do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for your comments.
Next item is case number PB 2024-04-02. Excuse me. Request by Land Tech acting as agent for Sandy and Scott Miller for preliminary and final site plan approval to construct one additional in-law dwelling unit on premises 300 St. Joseph Street in a RR Rural Residential District. So if you board members recall, this came before us for a special town board referral as a special use permit. They were granted the special use permit by the town board, and now we are on to site.
Unfortunately, John called at 5:30 tonight, and he was stuck in Dansville on another project, so I think Sandy and I have a decent grasp of what's going on, and we'll convey any concerns to John, so I guess it's in your court to...
So also within your packet, I did a blow-up of the actual structure that they're building. As best I could. I thought it came out pretty good.
So maybe to make it easy for them, if I recall, there wasn't a whole lot of input from the town, from the planning board. Was there anything that you had to write to them that they had to follow up on? I'm just going by memory. It's not as good as it used to be.
From what you guys referred,
Right.
it was a positive referral. The construction of the in-law unit will enhance the current features on the property. The granting of a special use permit will not have a negative impact on surrounding properties. Continuing to carry on the family history and legacy of the property is a great benefit. No impacts to emergency services.
Anything changed in regards to that?
Nope, we're moving forward, and I'm very excited about the proposal of having a safe spot for my mother-in-law and a grandkids in West Arundequoit School District for next year.
Great. And I'm sorry, do you still live on the property too?
Yes, sir.
And you're going to stay there?
Yeah, I'm the fourth generation. My daughter's the fifth, and my grandkids are the sixth.
Okay. So does anybody on the board have any questions for him? I seem to remember we were okay with this.
Yeah, I think we are. What is the facade on the house going to be? Is it clapboard? Is it?
So all of our barns and our house has like a Dutch lap siding on it. So it's going to match white Dutch lap siding like all of our buildings that are on the property. So it's going to sit right in. And the building that we're tearing down right now was a Dutch lap building too. So all the buildings around us are really identically looking buildings in our house.
Great, I appreciate it.
Compound.
Yeah, it's a family compound. 130 years in December, our family's been on this property. So the plan is, you know, my mother-in-law is 85. Hope she has a bunch of years left in her. When she passed away, Sandy and I will move into the in-law apartment and downsize, and our second daughter can move into our house for the benefit of living in Arundequoit as well.
And there's no concern about water back here, right?
No. And
Probably as you
it's
go
not-
further.
We're not building down. We're only going down far enough for mechanicals, and there's not a water problem. We're on an existing building spot right now, and that building has
Yeah.
never had water in it.
Okay.
I think we asked you this last time. Have you talked to your neighbors? Do they have any concerns?
No, our neighbors are very excited for us. No, absolutely. Nope, we definitely have. Nope. And once again, from the road, you almost barely can't even see the building because between our house and our hedgerow up front and the other buildings on the property, looking from the neighbors sideways, you can see it, but it's set back on our, right in the middle of our property, actually.
Yeah, I have a cousin who lives on Legionnaires.
Oh, yeah.
You probably know her.
We'll back up to that, yeah.
Yeah,
The coyotes in your backyard and in our backyard.
yeah.
Few too
Well,
many.
that's why I know there's a little water where she's at.
Yeah, no, we're actually in a good spot right there.
Yeah.
Sump pump runs a little bit in our house, but it's not like it's a problem. In
But
the
we
front,
have a full basement too.
yeah,
so-
and my front house the sump pump hasn't ran all year.
I do have one thing that I think is just a correction on your AAF form, the short form. On question 9, I'm sure you meant to answer yes on that, not no, but I wouldn't say that for sure because I didn't fill out the form.
Question 9, does the proposed action meet or exceed the state energy code requirements?
I'm sure it will, won't it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You're talking about as far as furnace and
Yeah.
and windows?
Oh, okay.
Yes, no, absolutely, 100%.
I think I did not understand that question. Yes.
Absolutely.
Michelle, should I revise that and send you a
No, you
revised
gotta,
copy?
you gotta come back and no.
Go back to the town board, get reapproved now.
I feel like we're friends now. I'm liking that collection. And
Everybody.
it's really nice because the demolition permit we got, and there was a asbestos report done, it was asbestos-free, and the fire department asked if they could run drills cutting holes in the ceiling before I tore the building down. So they were down there all day today training. And they got a second battalion coming, had a morning training and an afternoon training with two battalions. And then tomorrow they got 2 more different battalions coming doing the thing too. So it's been,
Been quite a neat
yeah,
process.
the chief,
Well-
the new chief, Ken is an awesome guy, and it's
Thank you
working
for
out. Win-win-win for the
allowing
town.
the department to train
Yeah.
and
Yeah, no, it's working out.
and
great.
actually doing it in the correct order.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks to Michelle.
Yeah,
And
she's been a
Carol,
huge help.
and Carol too. Carol's been very helpful.
Really good.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Those
it's
are
been-
always
It's been a
good
great
training.
process. You guys made us feel very comfortable through this whole process.
So Sandy, just send me page 2
Okay,
with that
I will.
amendment and I'll just slide it right in.
all right.
We did talk to Jeff Lawson. He sent me a call. I got a voicemail at 5:30 as well, and he's got the final architectural drawings done too. So we can submit them to Michelle before the 29th too, so that the final drawings are in. I think John just got to do the elevations, and we've been in contact with Mono County for the septic. I think John put an application or talked to Water and RG&E, but Sandy and I are going to follow up with that tomorrow as well. So I feel like we're in a good position right now.
Question for you.
Anything.
Wes Petty, again from Labella Associates. Looks like you've got a proposed septic system for the building. Have perk tests been done on the lot?
No, go ahead, this is Sandy's.
Yeah, so we were not able to get in touch with John and find out where he was on that, from Land Tech, our site
Yeah.
planner.
Yep, I know
So
John.
I called today and spoke to Shania at the Department of Health, and we're going to be doing the septic ourselves, installing the septic ourselves, and so she gave us it's going to be a repair permit, I think it's called, because we're just basically adding 1 bedroom onto the system. So we need to, we're going to install an 800-gallon septic tank, and then we need to do perk tests and make sure that the leach lines, which we have more leach lines than we need for our house,
Yeah.
are efficient for this new septic tank as well.
Okay.
So we do have everything we need to make that happen, and so we'll
Okay.
be
And
working
there
on
is
that.
there is a correction on the site plan itself. It says a 500-gallon tank. When we talked to Lakeland Concrete, they had 800-gallon tanks in concrete, so we're going to
Okay.
update that to an 800-gallon tank rather than a 500-gallon tank.
So this is going to be a 1-bedroom unit?
Yes.
One bedroom, yes, sir.
Okay.
In-law, yep.
Okay, and so then I see that the proposed septic tank, if it's going to be 800 gallons, it appears to be discharging into the septic tank for the 1-story frame house, is that correct?
Yep,
Yes.
correct.
Okay.
It's going to go from one, and then the gray water will go from that tank into my other tank, and then into the distribution box, and then into the leach lines, yes, sir.
Okay. We might want to request some design information for the existing, it appears to be maybe a 1,000-gallon septic tank?
Yeah, there's a 1,000-gallon tank and excuse me, 6 60-feet lines of leach line off it.
Okay,
When we did the perk test initially, my father was in excavating and trenching as a business. Excuse me. So when we perked it 30 years ago, they said we should put 4 60-foot lines in. My father was like, I got a backhoe, we got the equipment, we got the stone. So we ended up putting the extra line in at that point.
okay.
So we got the information, like Sandy said, today for the percolate tests, and we'll be doing that this week, so we're on board with Monroe
Okay,
County.
so you're thinking you got your perk test is scheduled for this week?
Yes.
Okay, so I think what I would ask as a town engineer is that the perk test information be supplied on these drawings.
Okay.
Right? For review.
Yep.
And also, we'd want a design engineer, whether it be John or somebody else, identify whether or not the existing 1,000 gallon tank and the area where this proposed house is going to be discharging to has the capacity to accommodate the additional flows from the one-bedroom house. And I'm happy to coordinate with John and Michelle, your design professional, and Michelle, to be sure that we've got what we need on the final plans for
Okay.
signature
Perfect.
and approval. So it sounds like you've been in touch with Monroe County Department of Health on the sanitary, the wastewater. Are there any existing buildings that are connected to a public sewer, or is each one connected to a
My
septic?
front house is on septic,
Okay.
and our back house is on septic.
Okay. And Monroe County Water Department, they haven't, it looks like, is this unit going to be metered? It looks like the water might be coming through the one-story house,
Right,
the
so-
existing house.
So when I think it was probably 15 or 20 years ago, we had old pipes, so we had a brand-new service ran from, and had to retap the main to my house. So it was a 1-inch service from the road to our house. And John did the usage calculations, and it's under, so what we're gonna do is split where it comes into the house, and then run another 1-inch pipe through my house, and then a short distance underground to the new building
Okay.
to feed that building. And once again, it could be on a separate meter if that's what they wanted. It wouldn't matter to me either way, but if they really wanted a separate meter for it, it'd be possible, because where it comes in the house, we could split it there before it hits the meters.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I think that's going to be it from my perspective. Thank you.
Right, so just so I'm clear for what you need for John, since he's not here, is to identify if the existing 1,000 gallon septic tank has the capacity to handle the additional discharge from the new septic tank?
Yeah, and the leach lines, because it sounds like that after those flows go through the 1,000 gallon septic tank, they would likely be heading into the leach lines.
Yes.
And there's a manual that tells us, how many, how long those leach lines need to be, and
Yeah, we've got that. We got all the information from Monroe County today, so.
okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
And it shows you the calculations, and she told Sandy, whatever, it was like 440 was the number for what
Yep.
so we do have the sheets from Monroe County,
Okay, yep.
so
Okay.
we are in tune with that.
And then the perk test results, we'll need those too
Yep.
on the drawings.
So when John identifies whether or not it can handle it, does that need to be put on the site plan somehow?
That doesn't need to be put on the site plan, but if some sort of documentation can be provided, it can be in letter form,
Okay.
that'd be fine.
Okay.
And then worst case scenario, when we did the system, we put a 8 or 10 port distribution box. So in a worst case scenario, that if we had to add 2 lines, I would add 2 lines off of that distribution box
Okay.
to accommodate if the port didn't come back the way we wanted to.
Okay.
Any other questions? No, it looks like you're shooting for October, November to be completed?
Yeah, absolutely.
September, October? The perfect world?
We're not going to keep them through the holidays?
Look forward to seeing you at the next meeting.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it.
I really appreciate you guys'
Thank you all
time
very
tonight.
much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So the next item on the agenda is case number PB 2023-09-01, request by Capstone Real Estate Development LLC, acting as agent for 590 Titus Avenue LLC, for preliminary final site plan approvals to construct 2 multifamily apartment buildings totaling 16 market rate residential units on premises 550 and 560 Titus Avenue in a mixed-use commercial district. And I thought Mr. Lasher was going to be here. I did send him an email earlier, and I haven't heard back.
So do you want to do the next one and then come back to this?
Sure.
Just in case he shows up?
Sure. So the next item is case number PB 2024-04-03, request by Knopf Shaw LLP, acting as agent for RSM Arundequoit Bay Development LLC, for renewal of EPOD permits, wetlands, steep slope, woodlot, floodplain, previously granted for premises 400 and 500 Newport Road in a WD waterfront development district.
Good evening. My name is Amy Kendall. I'm a partner with Knopf Shaw LLP. We are here representing RSM, Arundecoit Bay Development LLC. With me is Steve Mancini and Mike Ritchie. We're here tonight to discuss RSM's application for reapproval of EPOD permits for woodlot, floodplain, wetland, and steep slope for properties at 400 and 500 Newport Road. I know this board has seen this project before a couple of times. If you'd like, I will provide a brief overview of the history of the project, but that's completely up to you.
That would be helpful. I would-
Yeah, Bernie was the only one around.
But I was absent. That's what
I
actually I
said.
was on assignment in Dallas.
I pointed that out to everybody. I said, hard decision, where's Bernie?
Okay, so the original application for the project was put in 2008. In 2009, in November, this board adopted the FEIS. And in 2010, this board adopted seeker finding statement, granted site plan approval, granted special use permits, and granted the original EPOD permits. And I'll just stop for a moment to say that the work that's been conducted so far on the site was conducted under those original EPOD permits. That includes the installation of utilities, the tree removal, and construction of 3 townhomes, which are not 100% complete. And less complete now, unfortunately. Also in 2010, this board, in its approvals, determined that the project complied.
I'm sorry.
10. Determined that the project complied with the LWRP, the Harbor Management Plan, and Monroe County Pure Waters Master Plan. Also in 2010, the DEC issued a freshwater wetlands permit for the work that was going to be done on the property. In 2015, this board readopted the seeker finding statement, reapproved the EPOD permits, approved the subdivision of the property into 2 lots, 400 and 500 Newport. And then the zoning board granted an area variance for density on 500 Newport Road. So that is the property that has the larger condominium buildings. Also in 2015, the DEC renewed the freshwater wetlands permit. So in the 2015 EPOD permits expired in 2020, and I don't know if you remember 2020, but there was a global pandemic, and so we were delayed because of that. My client is looking forward to moving ahead with this project. Just to be clear, and I'll let my client and the engineer explain this, but there are no changes proposed to the project at all. The approved site plan is still the plan. I mentioned this to the Conservation Board, but I'll just highlight it for you. RSM had previously furnished a letter of credit to the town for work as required by 235-8 of the town code. And that work was completed, so the letter of credit was released. We have applied, we have applied to the DEC for a new freshwater wetlands permit. So that is still pending, and obviously will have to come before any additional work. So I'll leave it to you all if you have any questions.
So you're gonna get into why it's taking so long, or just trying to understand?
Well,
Could
a
be
couple
all
of
pandemic,
things.
so-
No, a couple of things. Well, as you know, this is an HOA. So the negotiations with the Attorney General for approval has taken some time. We've gone through it a couple of times now. But I believe we're close to the end of that.
We're in their final comments at this point, the Attorney General.
So that's one issue. The second issue is the high water in 2017. Steve can explain this in more detail, but there was significant damage to the property at that time, and we are in the process of still getting that sorted.
Correct.
So,
A lot of damage to the docks, it flooded the parking lot. Any areas of damage were not where the buildings will be, which was good. But unfortunately, it did cause a lot of damage.
Amy?
Yes.
Wes Petty here from Labella Associates. Could you explain for the planning board what was submitted by you and your client recently with regard to the site plan approval? You gave a list of things that were completed as a result of the site plan for the town to help identify whether or not the site plan has expired or still stands.
yeah, can you do that? Do you remember the list?
It's right
Yeah.
here.
have it. If you
I've
want
got
to
it.
read it.
Okay.
Oh, here it is. I have it. Yeah.
So, Steve Mancini.
I'm sorry, Steve, could you just grab the mic, please? Thank you.
Yes. You got it. So Steve Mancini with RSM. Everything, as Amy stated, there was originally a letter credit, which had covered all the site work for the entire project as far as earthwork, infrastructure being sanitary sewer, stormwater, water lines, fire hydrants, so forth, the road. And so, I could go down the list if you'd like, but basically, we took down the existing two-story building, removed the underground storage tanks that were there, removed the underground gas and diesel tanks and dispensers from the site. All the 6-inch water main, including all the individual services, 1-inch copper lines to each individual unit were installed. The water main connection to the existing service, the fire hydrants on the site, the 8-inch sanitary sewer, all the sanitary manholes, 4 and 6-inch lateral cleanouts, the connection to the force main. Force main, as you know, is the pump station that would feeds this project and mooring line, correct, Wes? It does feed mooring line, right?
I can't remember.
It protects upland, or it feeds upland houses, and we're tied into that too, and so
Okay.
forth. The 18-inch storm inlets, the storm manholes, all the storm sewer piping, cleanouts, connection to the existing storm pipe. All the mass grading on the site was completed. The concrete curbing, sidewalks, all installed. The new road box and asphalt pavement was completed. The modular block retaining wall, the construction of a 3-unit townhouse building with one being about 85% complete, and the other 2 shells, which we will then take to completion on those before we move to the next building. A lot of repairs to damaged docks. Docks kind of got destroyed. The chains were stressed out and so forth from the flooding, the high water levels. Things broke, and then we had the the great fortune, I will say, instead of misfortune, of having that barge break loose and then smash up, some more docks, the barge from the bridge. So the boardwalk, we've been working on for the past month. We're about 25, we're going around the entire site on the boardwalk. We're about 25% complete on that. It's a big, long boardwalk. So that's ongoing. And then we did have a little setback last Saturday night, so we've, we lost about 80% of the windows in the units, so. So that's unfortunately
broke
has
into
to
the
be,
site.
those have to be repaired, so.
So all of this that you were saying is done, was that done pre-flooding or post-flooding?
No, this was completed pre-flooding.
So all this currently exists even with any of the damage that
Correct.
was done in 22
Yeah, the only thing would,
or 17?
the only things of repairs, like, so last year we fixed the majority of the docks, still have some more to fix, but they've been pulled out of the water, the ones that were damaged. Everything that's now in the water is new chain secured. Boardwalk was damaged, we're doing the boardwalk now.
Got it.
I will note that there is one, Steve just mentioned that the underground gas tanks were taken out. I think on the site plan, it says there's a gas building.
Oh, it's referred to as a gas building, it's just the boathouse.
Yeah, there's no gas.
There's no gas anymore.
So, it's just gonna be a boathouse at this point.
So can I just ask, what is our obligation to this applicant?
So my understanding is that you're looking strictly at the EPOD, the reissuance of an EPOD.
And
E-
ignoring
EPOD
everything
permits.
else?
Yeah, the site plan application, or the site plan as it was approved, they've demonstrated that they've done a significant amount of work that was a result of or based upon that approved site plan. So, and they had applied for and received building permits. So it's their contention, and I believe the town agrees, that the site plan is still valid today.
Got it.
And the site plan is from 2010. You're not making any changes to it. You're following it exactly.
No, yeah, I think the final signatures were 2011, but yes, it was that site plan. Other than the gas building not being gas anymore.
So just to bring everybody up to speed, it was like 40-some condos and 9 townhouses?
Correct, so 9 townhouse-style units and 45 condominiums.
45.
Correct.
And these are all going to be owned, right? That's what the HOA is all
Owned,
about?
yes.
Okay.
Right, and so that was part of the subdivision that happened in 2015. It was because of the Attorney General's HOA approval process and how you go about selling those types of units. So you can speak to the
Yeah.
staging?
So they wanted basically to set up 2 HOAs initially. Well, first actually 1. That's, again, the subdivision. So then there'll be a second, and then ultimately all merge. Very convoluted and took a lot of time, but at some point, when everything's complete, then the HOAs will merge again. So
But at this point, there'll be
they will be separate.
one HOA for the townhouse units, and then a separate HOA for the buildings.
For the condominium units.
So the condominiums are on the north side of the property, correct?
Correct.
And then the other part that's numbered 1 through 9, those structures are, okay. And is there parking for those?
For which ones?
The 1 through 9, sorry.
So they have, yep, that's okay. They have 2-car garages and individual driveways.
Okay,
So they, 4 cars each.
got it. And then I want to ask staff another question. Are we looking at seeker on this?
Well,
And
seeker's been
From the
done.
time it was originally approved, seeker has changed at least twice since it was originally
The
approved.
seeker regulations?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's a good question, right? So I know seeker was concluded at 2010, I think you had mentioned, or 2011?
2010 and
2010.
then reapproved in 2015.
Okay,
Reapproved by this board in connection with the subdivision.
yeah. Well, let's talk to the town attorney about that. If there's a need to reaffirm the final seeker determination somehow, I don't know that this application warrants reopening seeker. We'll ask, though. Let's find out.
Yeah, I just think it's a question that if you ask it up front, it doesn't bite you when you turn around.
Yeah. Either way, so I guess either way, we'll probably want to provide some documentation in the form of a resolution indicating, if and when you take action, how this board reconsidered seeker, or whether anything further needed to be done in that regard.
I will say that in 2015, when this board had this application before it, in the minutes, which I think I included in my package, it specifically referenced the previous seeker determination and attached it to the minutes. So that might be a way.
So we may
I
do
just want to
something very
make sure
similar.
that we're not skipping something because the law has changed in that amount of time. Right?
Question.
Which map is going to be the most helpful in this packet for me to look at for steep slopes?
There's an EPOD plan, I think the plan following what you're looking at, EPOD plan. What number?
Sheet 8 of 19 is what I'm on.
You're on the landscape plan, I believe the sheet after that might be the EPOD plan. Sheet 10 of 19, actually. So
Okay.
There's a lighting, then EPOD plan.
Yep, you're absolutely right. Thank you. This was really hard to see on the computer, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It's a lot. But again, a lot of the work that is in, thank you. A lot of the work that has been done is in, I believe it's the Woodlot EPOD, like that, right?
Yes.
Is that right?
Correct.
So a lot of that, I mean, we applied for all of the permits again to cover all of our bases, but I believe the work that was planned for the woodlot has been completed.
It has been completed, so we don't need to get back into those areas.
So just clarify that, so you're saying where 8 and 9 is?
I'm
Correct.
sorry, I don't have it.
Yes.
All you're gonna do is finish those, is what you're saying?
This one doesn't have an EPOD.
Right, where I'm looking at
The north, you're not actually
the
building anything.
northwest. Yeah, it says,
Building.
all right.
So I guess, Wes, I'm kind of like where you are. What exactly do we, what's our role and steps for the EPOD evaluation?
So the EPOD permits expired in 2020, and so we're requesting a reissuance of the EPOD.
I knew that part, but I
Okay.
just wanted to know. I mean, it seems like the last board just basically reissued the same.
Yeah, so it may be as simple as formalizing some form of reapproval of the EPODs, given that the site plan is approved, which anticipated changes to the environmental resources that the EPOD is meant to protect. So I think it probably warrants having either codes or the planning department staff identify where any changes might be present, which I anticipate there likely wouldn't be because you've indicated the site plan is not changing, and simply reconfirming an approval of the previous EPODs.
And like the shoreline hasn't changed or anything like that, right?
No, so the break wall runs the property,
Yeah,
and although it had some slight damage.
right, that's what I was,
Nothing's moved or changed. We're actually just reinforcing and capping.
going to ask about the public.
Yeah, I was just curious about public access to this area.
once the project is complete?
So the site was approved as a gated community.
It will be a gated community?
Yes.
Okay.
Especially given last weekend's.
So all those years it stood there and nobody bothered with it?
Correct.
Last weekend?
Yeah, it's been there for a,
I think until we had cameras on it, I mean, I've certainly been down there a couple of times later than I should have
We've known of
been.
traffic and so forth,
Yeah.
and you know, mostly kids doing things that were
Kids do.
not legal back then, but have somewhat become legalized, but, you know, mostly trash, things like that. But this past year has changed.
and all the gated portion of this has been approved by the town and by the fire department?
Yes. In fact, it will be gated again tomorrow after 11 o'clock, and they've coordinated that with Bill. You know, I mean, we have to shut it down. I mean, the town is actually going to provide a lock box for emergency vehicles, or a Knox box, excuse me,
Right.
for emergency access.
So even though it's not part of the EPOD, what's the plan for developing? Like, what's the schedule?
So, the first 3 units that are currently constructed, we'll finish number 9, which is very close to completion. Then, of course, 7 and 8. At the same time, we will be submitting, the architect is finalizing, based from town's comments, on the building permit package for 4, 5, and 6. So we can submit that while we're working on these, and then we'll start 4, 5, and 6 as soon as we get the new building permit plans approved for that through building department. And then, as those sell, then we would go to 1, 2, and 3. Then in the meantime, while all that's being constructed, we have to circle back again with the AG. Again, there was a separation of HOAs, and they do take some time, so this one here is almost, you know, final comments, and then we have to start the process on the bigger buildings.
So you'll do those in the second phase, as it
We
were?
will,
Okay.
yeah, it's like, okay, let's get these built and then get the AG working away on the next phase.
Now, I know you're here for the EPOD. I read through the comments by the Conservation Board, and I want to thank the Conservation Board for their participation. But the Conservation Board has come up with some new planting materials that would fall under being more native species to the area. And if there's any way for you guys to take a look at that list and see how it matches your list, or how the conflicts can be resolved from your list to their list, would be very helpful to us.
Sure, I'll defer to Costage, because they put together a landscape plan, and, you know, absolutely, we can work with, you know, their requests as far as if there's, you know, plants that they feel don't work there and so forth.
Yeah, we can take a look at native species and look to substitute, you know, plants that are going to be more hardy to these conditions. And obviously, no invasives. There's been advancements in what municipalities look for over the years, so
Yeah.
I think it certainly warrants a look and substitution.
I appreciate that.
We've also worked with Department of Public Works recently, and RG&E. RG&E is granted their approvals to start gas main and so forth. And the reason we're working with DPW is because the town wants to get a backup generator down there for the pump station, so that would coordinate at the same time.
And you do have power for down there, right?
We do have power there, but you need an upgraded gas service for
Yeah.
this generator, which.
There's a project out in Henrietta that they want to do that they need $17 million for a transformer for. So I'm just asking that you guys actually have. Okay,
Yeah, we already got the will serve letter from RG.
got it. Super.
Any changes to the road getting down to the?
Other than we have to cut and patch, you know, we did walk the site recently, and, you know, we know what areas we will do a cut and patch on before top coat, and, you know, we did this, you know, with the town.
Aaron.
Yep.
And if we wanted to just take a tour of the site, because that's not unusual, can we arrange that through Michelle, or how do you want us to do that?
Yeah,
We
so,
would not do it as a group. I mean, I would just run down there
okay.
at some point.
Well, of course, like I said, after tomorrow, the site will be gated, so.
That's why I'm asking.
I
I
would
go
be-
tonight, is what he's saying.
Yeah.
So, here, you know, I'm heading down there.
Those nice clean windows.
But yes, if I know, you know, if you guys want to meet me down there, I mean, we're down there working sometimes we're not, but yes, I'd be happy to take anybody through.
I'd be interested in looking at it. I know a couple of us could go at once if we wanted to do that, but not more than 3.
Yeah, I drove down there quite a bit when we were doing the other activity that was going on in that area, and I was wondering what was going on, so.
Yeah, I haven't been down there in a while. The same thing, it was like,
You see
gosh,
anything
these
on
are
your cameras
beautiful.
of a black Buick?
So I do have black Buicks. Why were you there at 4 AM?
And were those your empties?
I did forward you the newly adopted landscape guidelines
Okay.
from the Conservation Board, so I just
Thank
sent it
you.
to
Thank you.
all of you.
And this activity will be a public hearing?
Correct.
Okay. And we should be real clear on what the public is commenting on, just to make it
Correct.
easier for everybody.
I'll talk with Bill and we'll come up with a paragraph.
Did you want more of this? Okay.
The
No, for
vote
right
slips are public and,
I'm sorry,
vote slips are public and, for the owners?
so, again, after last weekend, we officially shut the marina.
Okay.
So, because I can't have people coming down there now. So the boat slips are ultimately going to be just for the residents. We even were given a nice big boat Saturday too, that state troopers came and said was stolen and took, but kind of a fun weekend.
I'm hanging out in the wrong parts of Verona.
Or the right ones.
What happens when you have property on the water?
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. So as far as your schedule goes, it really depends on demand, right?
Well, the townhouses, like I said, we're going to continue at least with the 6 right away. I do want to sell some of the 6 before we hit the next 3, just in a
makes
sense.
sense.
But, you know, we feel there's a strong demand though.
I was trying to figure out, is this like a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan?
For the entire project?
Yeah,
I mean, for the 45 units, I would say the entire project would be a 5-year plan. I mean, the buildings are big.
the way you were talking, it sounded longer, so.
It's like Curb Your Enthusiasm. It was actually 12 seasons, but took 25 years.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, I guess we'll just look for some guidance. I think it would be, is this going to be on the 2 weeks? This will be in 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Correct. Correct. Public hearing in 2 weeks.
So it would be helpful to have real clear guidance to the public on what we can actually comment on.
It's at 7:03, 2 weeks from
Right.
now.
All right, cool.
Thank you.
Any other questions before we?
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'll look for you later.
Gotta get a license plate.
A reputation.
Does the 550 Titus, is that going to need zoning approval now because of the height on it?
No, I don't believe so, because I believe that's the muck district and it's jurisdiction, planning board jurisdiction, I thought.
Okay.
I have to recheck the code. Let me recheck the code quick.
It's 35 feet.
Yeah,
They were nervous about the 35.
well, that's what struck me.
So they're breaking it up and changing the colors to be more in tune.
Yeah.
35 feet was what they were keeping the flat.
Yeah, I thought so you're talking about the height might be,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which we asked them to do something with the height too, so.
Well, we did and the neighbors did.
Right.
Yeah. I don't have a whole lot of questions on that one at the moment until Don comes in to chat with us. I probably will
Was there a
want to
list
know.
of things for them to address that
Hang on, let me
we
get
could
to
just
that.
make sure they addressed them all?
This was the
Let me
main
get to that application.
point of contention for sure, was just the design.
I think it looks a lot nicer than what we saw
The
before.
original was,
It's still a little stark.
Yeah, I'm very curious as to what the
brick.
the fascia is gonna look like. I mean, and what the windows are gonna look like and all of that. Because he still is showing me that he's doing commercial windows on there as opposed to residential windows.
Within your packet, Mr. Thornton from Thornton Engineering submitted a letter back in December, I believe, addressing Monroe County Department of Planning and Development comments pertaining to the proposed Titus Avenue. Monroe County,
Oh,
from the county. Let me find my notes. And then also there was updated ones that were in your packet from the county, planning and development as well. I have to look back to figure out, I believe the last time we,
it's great they got the answers, but no questions.
was it not September?
Oh, are they? From the planning board or from the county?
Oh, here we go. I got it right here.
Okay.
No, that was the sketch plan. I apologize. And then we made
I mean, number 2 is awfully meaningful to me. This comment is acknowledged and does not warrant modification on the site plan. I don't know what the question was.
It's, I think, the first page.
responsible grading or right away.
I think they're answering the page in front.
So the December 5th, in the middle of this.
That's a county
Right.
stuff, right?
Yeah, that's
What I'm looking,
Monroe County.
okay.
It says in response to the December 5th letter. is
Oh,
what it
their
says.
planning board. Did we have questions for him, Michelle?
That's what I asked her.
That's
Yeah,
what I'm
that's what I
looking.
thought. Sorry, I wasn't playing. I thought there was only one planning board, so, and it was us.
So it looks like back in, at the workshop meeting on November 13th. Is our November public hearing closed? Or? Existing Monroe County Water Authority easement requesting installation of a new water service off Curtis Road to the 560 lot and head south to the proposed building to avoid installing a hot box per Monroe County Water Authority. Look at lighting installed on the building. Move dumpster enclosure to the east side of the lot. Submit a lighting cut sheet. Staff to prepare parts 2 and 3 per seeker. Obtain fire marshal comments. Did we meet in between that?
The notes that I have are 11/29/23 was the last public hearing, and I've got a few comments from the public on it that have to do all with design of the building.
Almost on the same day.
I kind of remember asking about the dumpster and something to protect the parking, which I think they put those bumpers in.
I think I was at that meeting.
We were asking for more handicap
Have any
spots as
comments?
well. They only had 2, we asked for 4.
Which they've done.
Windows looked commercial, update with new colors, possible cherry tree changes to the front. And the lighting plan. Requested.
I know where to look.
You said cherry tree in the front.
There's 2 in the front. Potentially, we're gonna change the.
You can open it? Yeah, all right.
Here we go.
The species on.
It's so odd, the building is so small and the parking is so big.
I unfortunately cannot find it.
Gotta be great to compact some of this parking.
I think they've
somehow.
addressed most of what we asked and then just basically come back for the the look of it, so. So I guess if you could ask them when they come back to bring examples of the materials and the colors.
Yeah.
And I don't see any outdoor lighting on any of the elevations here. So, unless I missed it.
I'm sorry, Bernie, what was the first one? Submit?
Samples of the materials and colors. And then also lighting specs and where they are gonna be on the building. Because it doesn't show. Unless somebody else sees it someplace, do you guys?
S4 has a light.
Oh, S4. So there's only 4 lights on the whole building? Am I looking at that correct? At the doorways? And then they got some on the, in the parking lot, looks like. Okay. Forget the lighting plan question.
Get it?
I think it's, that seemed to be the biggest contention from the neighbors, so. And is it a public meeting or did we close it?
No, it was reopened
Oh, okay.
because the materials have changed.
The design guidelines for Titus Cooper Hudson have examples starting on page 22 of facade. If they're looking for feedback, and I know that we also got the letter from HIP, which I think I hear a lot of what they're saying in that letter and tend to agree. But I do think it is much better than the initial design. It still feels a little cold.
It's commercial.
Yeah.
The windows have a lot to do with that.
And I do appreciate, I think that putting the, breaking up the facade and putting the gabled roofs on it definitely helped push it in the right direction, but I think it has a little bit further to go. But
Anything
other
else?
than that, I think that they really nailed a lot of the stuff that we asked for in that district. Really, like the interaction with the street, the parking in the back, like all that stuff is the stuff we look for. This would be the only comment that I would make, you know, in terms of a little room for improvement, is just the character on the facade of the building.
Yeah.
Maybe if we see the real materials, it might change our mind a little bit too.
Yeah, I still think they need some buttons or something on these windows, anything.
I'm sorry, Ed, what? Mutton?
Did you say mittens?
Yeah.
What did he say?
Muttons. They're the grids that go
The
inside the
grids
windows.
that go on the window.
Grids?
Yeah, grids is a good word. They just have a commercial feel, and that's, I think I expressed that
No.
before. See, I mean, even these windows have grids on them.
Oh, okay.
Window panes or.
Window, yeah, I mean, it's not individual windows, but they
Divided
would help.
lights.
Muttons, window, panes.
And then I can't
Something new.
remember, maybe one of you guys do, is he doing HVAC internally on these buildings?
Yeah, that was the 3rd floor. Wasn't it?
So we're probably gonna wanna see that and wanna know the decibels, especially since it's gonna be up.
Interior.
It's interior.
Oh, it is
Yeah, it was
interior?
the 3rd floor was mechanical
Oh,
and
okay.
electronics, if I remember right.
Was there some discussion somewhere about one of those wrought iron fences along to screen the parking? Somebody said that. I
Yeah.
think that should come up again.
Is it on the site plan?
And I think their response was that was gonna be no water authority easement, that's why they did away with that.
Do they have any shrubs or anything?
what I was gonna say, that I think on both sides,
Yeah, and I
there should
think,
be some shrubs, because there's, the one side is a parking lot already. That's a day parking lot, so now there's gonna be headlights.
So at the Chase Bank, we did something like this, and I'm glad that we decided to use the fencing and the shrubs, because the shrubs never really came in. And then we were kind of doubly covered, but I don't know if there's some kind of an easement
They did
issue.
shrubs on both sides, it kind of blocks the,
If they come in, yes, I
Yeah.
agree, I agree.
and then it doesn't look like a double parking lot.
Yeah.
And then so the building's there, but in the neighborhood, they just don't
Right,
see the parking lot.
right, I agree.
Did you get that too,
More than
Michelle?
what is already on the landscaping plan? Oh, the Curtis Road side?
On both
Or the
sides.
Titus Avenue?
In between the parking lot here, the two parking lots,
Okay.
and then here.
East and
East
west.
and west property line.
yeah.
Thank you.
For the look of the building, have you thought of like them adding shutters just to give it a more residential look?
Oh, that would,
Shutters might do it.
yeah.
Is that what?
There doesn't appear to be any
Shutters,
like
no.
eaves.
No.
If it had, I mean, if it had eaves, I feel like that would give the building a little more depth and give it a little bit more of a residential feel, or some cornice around. So those areas where the roof line is flat, maybe a cornice of some type there, and then on the areas where there is the gable, some type of eave. I think that would help a lot.
Brad, what did you say before the eaves, though?
Cornice.
Is that flat?
Cornice. It's like at the top of a building, there's usually some type of decorative like
Element.
molding or element that before it on the roof line.
But what about these?
Even if you change the material at the
Is
gable
that
would
flat,
be,
or is that?
Yeah, that top third.
Can't tell.
Yeah.
So cornice element to be added preferably.
And then the eaves, I think on the gables would soften it a little bit.
I said eaves would give the building a more residential feel.
Yeah.
I have added landscaping to east and west property lines, add muttons, window panes, or grid lines to the windows. Titus Cooper, oh, I forgot Hudson, guidelines gives examples, please refer to this document. Find out who filled in for Michelle at the 11/27 meeting. Submit sample materials and colors.
I think it was Wes.
This is the, there's no lamp.
The only thing I'll say about shutters is, since these windows are
three
in
across.
2s and 3s, it would be obvious that they were not real, because they would never function properly
Right.
unless they were on the singles. I mean, take it for what it's worth, but
They could go on the flat roof ones and then
They-
do something different.
yeah, something. But I overall the sentiment, I agree with what everyone's saying. Residential elements apply to the building. Look for opportunities to do that.
And they didn't want to do signage, right? Was that my, yeah.
It's just the number of the building.
Just the numbers on it.
Yeah, well, they should have to do that so the fire department can find you.
When I first saw this, it threw me off. Yeah.
I thought these were clouds.
I want to know where he got these trees, though. I've never seen trees quite like this.
What is it though?
I looked at those and I was like, on the computer, they look
Michelle.
like so
Yes,
good.
sir.
Got another question.
On the Titus side, they got these hash marks in front of the building. Do you know what that's supposed to represent?
What plan are you on?
On the site plan, so drawing S1?
What number is it, John?
S1?
First one.
Yeah, they got these like dashed rectangles in front of the building. I'm trying to get an idea what that is.
Oh, yeah.
Where is it?
No, right here.
I think they're muttons.
Walkway, maybe?
Right here?
It would be continuous if it was
it's-
a walkway.
John, just so we're all talking about the same thing, it's this piece, my understanding is it's this right here.
Yeah.
there's hash marks or dash marks
Any arrow to
right in
anywhere?
front of the building itself. Sorry.
You know, yeah, these right here.
Oh.
I don't know if it's a building overhang. I only see like a building overhang in one area
On the
elevation
entry.
drawing. So I don't know if that's an elevation. Some form. Good question for the design engineer.
How do I explain that in writing?
Please clarify what the dashed rectangles are attached to the north side and south side of the building.
I think another opportunity to soften the building might be some foundation plantings. So I don't see any landscaping along the facade below the windows. That might be a good opportunity also.
If you go to drawing S3, I'm familiar with it. So there is a rectangle on each corner of the building, and then in the middle, 4-foot wide planting bed to be, location of beds will be determined by final architectural drawings, referred to planting bed schedule. So they do have some foundation drawings.
On the corners, right?
Yeah, and then right in the very middle where the property line is. But I think it's worthwhile to have them clarify
Yeah.
exactly what that's gonna look like.
Yeah, because there's no landscaping right now up front of that building. In fact, he's just removing trees. So probably a little bit more robust.
Something probably evergreen that'll be there in the winter as well. And you said that the HVAC and stuff is all gonna be, we're not gonna have an issue like we've had at other sites, right? Where they suddenly appear in the front of the buildings.
Right.
Okay.
But we should have them clarify that.
Yeah, make sure we get it.
Yeah.
There's a concrete pad up front there? Am I reading?
It's going to have along Titus, they're putting a bench up there, which would be even more reason to have a tree.
So what was I'm sorry, what was the last one? Add more landscaping up front?
Look for opportunities to expand foundation plantings along the front facade.
Great, thank you. So I don't send it to him by accident.
Anything else, guys?
I just think it'd be helpful to see a better drawing when they bring it in.
Right, that's why, yeah.
Yeah, did they mention what the cladding is? Is that hardy board or is it some type of metal
know.
or?
We have no idea.
I wasn't on the planning board when they were here last, but I thought I remember watching that they brought in.
Yeah.
That was an entirely different design, though. That was that modern
Okay.
square, and I think it was even multicolored.
Reds.
Yeah. It pleased the neighbors. Well, hopefully they've gone to the neighbors this time too, before they've given all this to us.
I guess you could ask that, Michelle. Have they gotten any additional information from the neighbors?
Ask them,
If we can, we're allowed.
How the meetings with the neighbors have gone. I'm just gonna assume that they've done that because that's when they ended up coming back.
Whatever happened with Chemical Bank? Or not Chemical, what's the name of the bank? Citizens Bank.
so Citizens Bank has withdrawn. their application. They got word to hold off. How did he say it, Matt?
On the entire project or on the
Correct.
signage?
No, the whole project.
Well, because it was two applications.
Oh,
A signage application was separate than the site plan application.
The site plan already got approved, right?
The Citizens has placed this project on hold for us, now slated for 2025 delivery. Based on our architectural site plan, is there an expiration on when the project would need to physically start construction before this expires? So I sent him the section of code where he's got 1 year. The site plan expires after 1 year from the date of such decision unless a building permit has been taken out within such time period for work indicated on a final site plan and substantial site development and/or construction has begun. So that's where we're at.
Well, that's probably relief to RGRTA too, because they hadn't worked out the deal with the storage place yet. Was my last conversation with Manuel.
I thought they were doing eminent domain, though.
He was hoping not to, but it is sold again the third time since we approved it.
The storage facility?
Yeah.
Oh, so that's what you were talking about. Okay.
Yeah, it's a third
Well-
owner on it now.
They just submitted for signage approval for life storage for next month.
Probably to take out the storage.
No, life storage is this new sign. That's CubeSmart right now still, I believe.
No, that got changed.
Yeah, it's life storage.
It's, yeah. So maybe they're asking forgiveness instead of for permission.
It's too late.
But that changed a while ago.
How about 7-Eleven on Empire? Anything going on there?
Still for sale.
They're looking for a renewal. Update, renewed approval.
Mm-hmm.
So we're working on whether or not they need to come back to the planning board for reapproval.
So COVID held them up, or?
I don't think so, because it was after COVID.
I'm sure it's interest rates that are holding.
Well,
Linda love it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
what else is for next month? I've already got applications in already. I gotta get them out. A lot of signage. Moki Nut, Mongolian barbecue's coming for signage.
Oh, cool.
3 banners there.
I've eaten there. It was actually
3
good.
banners.
Oh,
And I've had the
I think,
donuts.
wait a minute, can we adjourn?
Yes.
meeting's adjourned.